This is the story of a man who was once an ordinary teacher, but a tragic incident forced him to transform into a ruthless sniper. Our story begins in a very quiet region of Ukraine. In this region, there's a small wooden hut, and inside lives a couple. The husband's name is Mikola, and his wife's name is Naya. Mikola is a schoolteacher who teaches mathematics at a nearby school. He is a good teacher, loved by almost all of his students, except one. That boy's name was Ivan. Ivan was extremely arrogant and never missed a chance to insult or humiliate Mikola. But Mikola never let his words affect him, he carried on with his life peacefully. One day, while Mikola was at school, news spread that Russia had attacked Ukraine and seized control of many areas. That evening, when Mikola returned home, he received some unexpected news: his wife Naya was pregnant. Overjoyed, the two of them celebrated together. The next morning, Mikola kissed his wife goodbye and left for work. On the way, he saw two soldiers but didn't pay them much attention and rushed to school. However, when he entered the school, he found it completely empty. On the TV, the news confirmed that Russian troops had taken over his city. Suddenly, Mikola realized, the two soldiers he had seen on the way weren't Ukrainian, they were Russians. Fearing for his wife, Mikola ran home as fast as he could. But when he got there, he found the two Russian soldiers beating Naya mercilessly. Mikola tried to save her, but the soldiers beat him too. He pleaded with them, begging, "Don't hurt her, she's pregnant." But they ignored him. After thrashing the couple, the soldiers ransacked the hut, set it on fire, and prepared to leave. Seeing her burning home, Naya became furious. She picked up a stone and tried to fight back, but the soldiers fired a bullet. Naya was killed instantly. Mikola broke down completely. He cried uncontrollably, holding his wife's body. Hours passed until two Ukrainian soldiers found him. They identified him and helped him dig a grave, where together they buried Naya. From that day, Mikola's life shattered. He had no wife, no family, no home. All he had left was revenge burning in his heart. He swore to destroy those who killed his wife. With that determination, he decided to join the Ukrainian army. The soldiers took him to their base. But when their commander saw Mikola, he was angry. He refused to recruit him, suspecting Mikola might be a Russian spy. Mikola pleaded and told him the whole story of what happened. He promised he only wanted to kill Russian soldiers and free his country. Finally, the colonel agreed to give him one chance. Mikola's training began the very next day. Since he was just a civilian, training was incredibly tough for him. But one fellow officer helped him, teaching him how to assemble and disassemble a gun. Most people at the camp believed Mikola would never become a soldier. But he refused to give up. One night, he told his fellow trainees, "Don't call me by my name anymore. My code name is Raven." Everyone laughed at him. "Code names aren't just given, you have to earn them," they said. But Mikola ignored the mockery and kept training. Soon, the colonel announced, "We don't have enough snipers in our unit. We need more. Who among you wants to become a sniper?" Several men stepped forward. Mikola was among them. The colonel looked at him and scoffed. "You can't even assemble and disassemble a gun properly, and you think you can be a sniper?" Mikola replied firmly, "Just give me one chance. I'll prove myself. I can do it in under 20 seconds. The colonel placed a gun on the table. To everyone's shock, Mikola blindfolded himself, dismantled the gun, and reassembled it in just 18 seconds. The entire camp was stunned and applauded him. Impressed, the colonel finally admitted him into sniper training. During training, others received modern rifles, but Mikola was given an old model. He protested, but the colonel said, "If you want the modern one, prove yourself first." With no choice, Mikola kept practicing with the old weapon. The sniper training was brutal. Snipers had to remain perfectly still, even if bullets whizzed past them. If anyone flinched, they were disqualified. When it was Mikola's turn, he didn't move an inch, keeping his aim steady. In another exercise, snipers were shown their targets once, then blindfolded, and had to shoot using memory and instinct. Most succeeded. Mikola failed. His old gun made it nearly impossible. But the hardest test came at night. Snipers had to hit targets by the brief flash of a flare in total darkness. Everyone missed. Mikola didn't fire immediately. Instead, he used his mathematical knowledge to calculate distance, timing, and trajectory. When he finally pulled the trigger, his shot was perfect. The colonel was so impressed that he finally granted Mikola his chosen codename, Raven. Days passed, and Mikola trained relentlessly. At last, the results were announced. He had passed. He was now a sniper. Their first mission soon arrived. Russian soldiers had seized a checkpoint. Mikola's team reached the location, positioned themselves, and prepared to attack. As they were about to fire, a car approached the checkpoint. The Russians stopped it, checked the passengers, beat them brutally, and confiscated their passports. At that moment, the colonel gave the order, fire. The Ukrainian snipers opened fire, killing every Russian soldier. The mission was a success. Back at base, Mikola noticed many of his comrades were missing. He learned they had been sent on another mission. The next day came tragic news. Most of them had been killed by a Russian sniper named Seri, the deadliest sniper in Russia. Later, on another mission, Mikola and his team planted mines and waited. Soon, Russian soldiers approached, with Ivan among them, the very student who once tormented Mikola. Ivan had joined the Russian army. When the mines exploded, the entire unit was killed. The colonel told Mikola not to grieve, joining the Russians had been Ivan's choice. At camp, the colonel shared his own story. He had 2 daughters who didn't even know their father was a soldier. Mikola, in turn, told him about his wife's death. The colonel comforted him. Then came another mission. While on position, Mikola spotted the very soldier who had shot his wife. Burning with rage, he asked permission to fire. The colonel refused. Mikola begged again. The colonel still denied. Unable to hold back, Mikola pulled the trigger anyway, killing the soldier instantly. But this gave away their location. Even worse, the infamous sniper Seri was nearby. Before they could react, Seri shot the colonel with a perfect headshot, killing him on the spot. Mikola was devastated. His disobedience had cost the colonel his life. Under heavy Russian fire, he carried the colonel's body back to base. From that moment, he swore, "I will kill Seri. No matter what." Soon, intelligence revealed Seri's location. A plan was made. One team would attack the Russians head-on while another flanked them. In the chaos, Mikola would infiltrate and hunt down Seri. The mission began. Mikola crept into the building, silently killed 2 Russian guards, and gave the signal. The Ukrainians attacked, slaughtering the soldiers. Realizing something was wrong, Seri went to the rooftop, but found his sniper already dead. He called for backup, but they were 10 minutes away. Before he could prepare, Mikola ambushed him. They fought viciously, Mikola stabbing him repeatedly until finally, Seri was dead. The last Russian sniper tried to retaliate, but Mikola hurled a grenade, killing him too. Moments later, Seri's backup convoy arrived. They tried to contact him, but Mikola answered the radio instead. "All of you are going to die." He shot the truck driver, causing chaos. Russian soldiers jumped out, unaware that Ukrainian snipers were waiting in ambush. Within minutes, they were all wiped out. A few days later, Mikola visited Naya's grave. He stood before it and whispered, "I kept my promise. I killed those who murdered you. I avenged the colonel, and I will serve my country until my last breath." He walked away, determined, as the story came to an end. Sparkles. This was the journey of a schoolteacher who became the feared sniper known as Raven.